Hello there, problem solvers, and today we're going to start talking about Chapter 10, Physical Representations. So in your reading notes, hopefully you read about this strategy and you understand that basically it actually uses physical objects, be that people or objects you have around your house to represent things in different situations. So hopefully you've got a few things around you when you're doing these problems to model the situation. What we're going to do is we're going to go over the jackals and the coyotes problem that you did in the reading notes to see how it went. So just to review, there are 3 jackals and 3 coyotes on a trek. They come across to a river filled with carnivorous fish. There is a rowboat in sight. They decide to use it. The rowboat is too small, though, for any more than 2 of the group at a time, so they must traverse the river in successive crossings. There's one hitch. The jackals must not outnumber the coyotes at any time in any place. For example, if 2 jackals and only 1 coyote are together on the western side of the river, this problem is reduced to simple subtractions because the jackals will overpower, kill, and eat the coyotes, and we want to avoid that. So you can have an equal number of each, and it's also okay to have more coyotes than jackals. Neither of those are a danger, and the coyotes do not pose a threat to the jackals. So the trick here is to use this one small rowboat, a lot of sweat, and a little brain power to assure the coyotes' safety while both groups cross the river. So you can see here, these brown guys are Wile E. Coyote. They obviously represent coyotes. And these gray guys here I have are jackals. And then I've got a rowboat as well. So hopefully you found 6 objects, and really 7 objects, because it's really important that you represent where the rowboat is, because you need to keep track of which side of the river that it's on. So let's take a look at how this could work. So basically the idea here is you never want more jackals than coyotes. So basically having 2 coyotes leave and go across the river is a very bad idea, because then that coyote over there on that left side is in trouble and he will be overpowered. So that is not an option. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is for my first trip, I'm going to send across 1 of each, 1 coyote and 1 jackal, and then you can see here that they're both gonna get off the boat on that side, and everyone's safe because there's an equal number on both sides. Now, here's the thing though. The jackal cannot return, because as soon as he gets to this side, the jackals now overpower the coyotes on that left side. So basically what that leaves me with is, instead I'm going to have the coyote come back. Alright, and now everything's fine because there are more coyotes on this side, and even though there are more jackals, there are no coyotes over there, so everyone's fine. So the next thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to send both the jackals across the river. Okay, so both the jackals across the river, so now everyone's fine. Then I'm going to have 1 jackal bring the boat back across the river. Then there are 2 jackals on that right side, so I need to send 2 coyotes over there, and still you can see everyone's safe because there's an equal number on both sides. Now here's the part that maybe is a little counterintuitive. At this point, I can't bring across a coyote, because then that lone coyote I leave over there would be not in a good situation. I also can't bring a jackal across, because as soon as he gets over here, this guy's in trouble. So at this part, you need to do something a little counterintuitive. That is, you have to bring back 1 of each. So I'm bringing 2 people back across the river in the opposite way I want to go, but I have to do that to keep everyone safe. Now at this point, I can send 2 coyotes across the river in the rowboat, and they get out, and then I send this 1 jackal back to get everyone else. So this jackal goes across, and then 2 jackals get on, and they go across and get off the river, and then this one jackal here goes back across. He picks up that guy, and then you can see everyone is safely across the river after I do that. So this method is called physical representation. So I could be doing this with like actual physical objects or people to represent these. If I had 6 people living in my house, I could do that. But then the question is like, how do you write up your answer? How do you show what you did or explain what you did? For this problem, what I would do is I drew like a little diagram here with like arrows and abbreviations for what I did. So I kept track. I started with who was on what side of the river. Then I showed who got on the rowboat and which direction they went. And then I just labeled each trip. So every step here, I had all 6 represented somewhere, and I had to make sure of that. So first a coyote and a jackal cross, leave the jackal behind, coyote comes back. Then 2 jackals go across, leave a jackal behind, jackal comes back. 2 coyotes cross, then a coyote and a jackal go back. Then 2 coyotes cross, a jackal comes back, 2 jackals cross, a jackal comes back, and 2 jackals cross. And then everyone is safely on that right side. And then I think the last part of this question was how many total trips did it take? So if I've labeled or drawn out every step, I can just count out. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 total trips that needed to be made. 11 boat trips needed to be made to get everyone across. And this diagram shows what I did. Now, in addition to this, I would also write a brief explanation of like what I used. I would explain like, oh, I got out poker chips and I used red poker chips and white poker chips, and I used the blue poker chips for the boat, or I have stuffed animals that I used, or I got my parents to be the jackals and my little brother and my dog were the coyote, or something. You know, just tell me what you did, tell me how it went. So here, when you're doing your homework, try acting these out or using manipulative, and then write down how it worked. And of course, let me know if you have any questions.